My name is Dave Cronin. I'm an Irish journalist and political activist living here in Brussels. I've mainly been working on Palestine for the last few years. I'm an editor of a website called The Electronic Intifada. I've done a lot of work, particularly on the European Union's relationship with Israel. But I've also written a book on corporate Europe, how big business sets policies on food, climate and war. They're the areas that I've been focused on for the past 5 years or so. It's not an exaggeration to say that the whole European agenda when it comes to the question of security, in inverted commas, has been shaped by the armaments industry. There's a whole section in the Lisbon Treaty that relates to security/defence issues. That section was largely dictated by the armaments industry. There was actually a working group assembled by Valéry Giscard d'Estaing, the former French president, and some of the largest armaments companies in Europe had representatives sitting on that group. And it's not surprising, therefore, that the European Union has now made a formal objective of increasing its military capability, of devoting more resources to military research. And this is actually being written into a quasi-constitutional treaty. Weapons should not and cannot really be treated in the same category as civilian goods. It would be outrageous if there wasn't, strict controls on the armaments industry. But there actually have been discussions taking place inside the offices of the European Commission about how many of these controls can be removed so that the trade in military goods resembles more and more the trade in civilian goods. These discussions have been held under the rubric of something called the Defence Stakeholders Group. Now, the Defence Stakeholders Group is a small group made up of a few EU civil servants and the arms industry. And as far as I can see, nobody else. Officials from the European Union have acknowledged that this particular group has played a pivotal role in shaping legislation. I think it was the year 2004, the European Union established a border surveillance or a border management agency called Frontex. The whole question of migration, of asylum, in my opinion, is fundamentally a question of human rights. It's about people fleeing poverty, in many cases fleeing persecution. It's about how do we in Europe try and ensure that these people are treated with respect and that they are given some opportunity to try and make a better life for themselves. The European Union has really pandered to extremist political forces who view foreigners, who view asylum seekers, who view migrants as a threat to Europe. What's particularly worrying is that Frontex has been somewhat obsessed with using war technology to monitor asylum seekers. Frontex has actually been in contact with Israeli arms manufacturers as well as American and European arms manufacturers about how drone technology can be used in tracking asylum seekers coming here to Europe. It's done so in secret. There's been no real public scrutiny of its activities. To me, this is fundamentally anti-democratic, and it suggests that the European Union is not really interested in questions of human rights. It's instead more interested in pandering to the politics of fear. Well, this comes back to the question of how do you define security? I try and take a holistic view of what security means. You know, as a father, of course, I'm interested in my daughter growing up in a safe, secure environment. And obviously, I want her to feel a sense of security in herself. You know, and how do you give children a sense of security as a society? In my opinion, you do so by ensuring that every child has equal opportunities, that every child has access to a good education, good healthcare, irrespective of the income of their parents. That's a socialist vision. Unfortunately, that the welfare states of Europe are being demolished as we speak. The European Union has pursued quite brutal austerity measures, particularly in Greece, but by no means only in Greece. There have been many other countries, including my own country, Ireland. The usual word used to describe these measures is austerity. But in my opinion, it might be more accurate to say that we are living through quite an extremist capitalist experiment. It is designed to widen inequality. I don't think that that's a recipe for good security.